You know what's a really funny thing that happened like weeks ago, and I'm just getting to it now? My friend Friendly Geordie's like made a video trying to like make it out like you should vote for the Australian Labor Party over the Greens, and he was so fucking desperate. It was really funny. He made a video called literally How to Vote. The part about it that I want to look at is the part where he like tries to justify voting for the objectively worse party over the objectively better party in a country with preferential voting, which obviously is completely absurd, but he does it anyway because he's just a Labor Party shill. Look at his face. Fuck! That's a great freeze frame that I got by accident. Incredible stuff. This could be just like trace a fucking soy jack meme over him and we got a new one.
Not all minor parties are fronts for major parties, such as the Greens, who use the spectre of preferential voting to claim that there are no risks voting for them first and putting Labor second. There's a problem with that argument though, because unlike the UAP, who solely exists to prop up the Liberals, the Greens have no intention at all of helping Labor. In fact, this election, the Greens are spending most of their resources not trying to get rid of the...
Wait, they don't want to help Labor? Fucking great, dude. Do you know how fucking awesome it would be if the shitty right-wing Labor Party had to actually compromise with the Greens? If they had a minority and they needed to form a government with the Greens, that would be so much fucking better than Labor just forming a majority government themselves, because the Greens objectively have better policies in every single fucking facet of their policy, except maybe nuclear energy, but that's irrelevant because you're never going to get nuclear energy in Australia anyway. You know, there's going to be no development of that on that front anyway, so it doesn't matter. That's literally the only thing. So it's just irrelevant, totally irrelevant. I shouldn't have even brought it up because it just gives them a talking point. Like, how can you possibly say that? Oh, they're not going to help Labor? I don't fucking care. Wait, and his next point here is just, it's the same sort of thing. Like, he's complaining that the Greens are running against Labor rather than solely focusing on running against the Liberals. But the thing is, man, there's no seat that's going to shift from Liberals to Greens. Like, what the fuck? Like, they're not going to go from voting for a hard right party to the only remotely sort of center-left party in the country. Like, the Labor can flip Liberal seats. The Greens definitely can't.
Liberals. They're trying to win seats from Labor held by Labor MPs who are arguably more progressive than a lot of the Greens members.
No, they're not. They're fucking not. No fucking way, shape or form are they. Especially because Labor votes as a bloc. Always. You get kicked out of the party if you don't vote with the Labor bloc, okay? So even if they are individually more progressive, it doesn't fucking matter. Because if you're a Labor MP, you don't get any sort of say in anything. You don't get any individual say. You vote against the party line, you get kicked out. So it's much more important to have Greens MPs in there because the Greens party line is way fucking better.
It's an exercise in raw political ambition. This isn't just
in raw political ambition, it's an exercise in them having better politics than the party that you're a paid fucking shill for, dude. Say Labor needs a couple of seats from the Greens to form a government. Excellent. They need to compromise on some of their shitty fucking right-wing policies, which they have many of, by the way. When are you going to talk about the fucking Labor trying to be harder on refugees than the Liberals, bud? So they have to compromise with the Greens, right? And objectively make things better. Make their policies better than they are in order to form a government. That's better. You know, he's going to argue like, oh, but what if the Greens like block Labor legislation? Well, I got good news for you, buddy. With the Greens, you're going to have a majority, okay? So what that means is you negotiate with the Greens, you make changes to your legislation, which will objectively be better in every single fucking case because they're better than the Labor on every single fucking thing possible. And then they put it to the Senate and to the House of Representatives. And it passes and it's better. That's literally everything about this. Every fucking possible thing here about this scenario is better than the alternative of just having Labor doing whatever they want, which isn't much. He blames refugees for rising housing costs. Well, not a fucking surprise. He got his start basically being a racist. It's the fault of refugees for rising housing costs. The people who don't have money to buy a house or to rent, it's their fault. I don't even know if that's true, though. To be fair, I'm responding to some random fucking guy in chat, and they could just be completely lying. But I'm going to take it as the truth anyway, because honestly, this is a fucking Twitch stream. Who cares? No one on Twitch is serious. Like, his argument here just doesn't work. They don't want to help Labor? Good. Labor should have to work with them. Labor should have to make changes to appease them if they want to pass legislation. And that is good, because the Greens are better than Labor on absolutely every fucking issue, except the one little thing that I mentioned, which doesn't fucking matter, because no one's going to do anything regarding nuclear energy anyway. But he's like so desperate to try and find a way to spin this.
This has been proclaimed by the Greens themselves. They said that Griffith, Kevin Rudd's old seat, is their most winnable, And who's in Griffith now? Labor left Shadow Environment Minister Terry Butler. And who are the Greens putting up? Ex-Labor member Max Chandler-Mather, who, to borrow a phrase from everyone in the press ever, I'm sure he's a nice enough guy, but does he really have the ticker for the big seat? As a consequence of the Greens
What?
pouring all of their resources into this seat, Labor have been forced to put a shit ton of resources into Griffith to shore it up from that challenge.
Somehow this is the Greens' fault, though. It's funny how the Greens are the cause of all the problems, right? There was like another guy who's like a friendly Geordies who was arguing with me a couple of weeks ago saying like, but Labor doesn't want to compromise with the Greens. These weird arguments that like take Labor choosing to do things and blame it on the Greens somehow. I'll tell you right now, if the Greens win Griffith, that'd be great. If the Greens win any seat from Labor, that'd be fucking great. Fantastic. I hope it happens. I fucking hope that they win like 5 fucking seats and Labor has no fucking choice but to form a government with them. And if Labor doesn't want to do that, that's on them. That's on fucking them. I don't give a shit if, Labor voters hate the Greens. And, you know, the people who are voting, like the deciding voters for Labor are going to be like ex-liberals who are like voting against the Liberal Party and they're scared of the Greens because they think they're communists or whatever, blah, blah, blah. I don't give a fuck. Still better to have the fucking Greens in there.
Meaning that less resources are going into nearby seats such as Dixon, and who currently holds.
Well, you know, there's a great solution to this rather than blaming everything on the Greens, right? You don't pour those extra resources into there just to keep the seat from the objectively better Greens. You pour it into Dixon instead so that you can beat the Liberals there. But the problem with that is Friendly Geordies actually doesn't support. He clearly just doesn't support anything resembling being like more so-called progressive policy or whatever. That's the only possible explanation for him shilling for Labor this hard. Like him blaming the Labor like being such a bunch of reactionary shitheads that they desperately try to beat the Greens in a tight contest or whatever, and blaming them for Labor potentially losing a seat to the Liberals. How is this the Greens' fault for trying to fucking win? For the objectively better party trying to win, and that's wrong. Like, what the fuck? The link that he has to go to here to try and form these sorts of arguments in a country with a preferential voting system is very, very telling.
Dixon.
He just can't
This
do it.
guy.
Who the fuck is convinced by this? You gotta be like a 12-year-old.
Dixon and the Greens aren't waging Labor in order to achieve some sort of policy goal, no matter what Labor.
If getting fucking rid of Dutton is such a fucking important thing, then they should pour their resources into Dixon and just let the Greens potentially win the other fucking seat, bud. I know that would hurt your fucking little ego there, but the Greens are better. It'd be better for everyone if they won. Everyone fucking knows this. Like, anyone who's not a fucking moronic Labor shill knows this too. Labor might get a minority and they might have to compromise with the party that has objectively better policies, which will force them to make the laws that they try to pass objectively better. Oh no, that's so terrible. Look how scared I am. Like, who's convinced by this, honestly? How the fuck, man? This guy is like supposed to be like the voice of the left in Australian politics. You gotta be fucking kidding me. If this is the voice of the Australian left, there is no Australian left because this is a fucking right-winger. He'll support fucking anything that Labor does. He'll support Labor against any objectively better alternative. He even sees like the Greens taking a couple of seats from Labor and to be a bad thing. Just, you know, take a couple of seats from Labor and force Labor to compromise with you in order to make their legislation objectively better. Oh no, that's so bad, man. Look at how afraid I am. What a fucking joke. The only way to save Australia, according to Friendly Geordies, is to vote Labor. Just vote Labor. Vote Labor. That's all he does is tell people to vote Labor. I got some news for you, man. You can vote for the Greens and you can also get rid of the Liberals. It just means that your beloved Labor Party is going to have to form a coalition with them. Ooh, it's going to sting you, isn't it? It's going to sting your fucking ego a little bit. Well, suck it up.